Okay, in this video we're going to talk about closing the sale. We've already covered basically how to contact the customers, what to say, and then when you're going to get someone that you've shown them the presentation, exactly how to do that. And now we're going to talk about actually how to close the deal. When they call you back, they're interested, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to go about doing that. Obviously, these are some guidelines that I use and others have used, but if you have your own techniques, you have experience with sales, you can use what obviously works for you. But here are just a few things that I like to go over here. So the first thing I want to talk about here is always compare the rates to the value of a client for them. So if the customer comes back and they're, remember the presentation, we've actually shown them if you've chosen to do the video presentation, they're going to come back and actually go, okay, great, I want this service. Now how much? It's always going to come down to price. Now if you just turn around and go talk about just, it's $497 or whatever the amount was that you chose, just $497. Sometimes that can throw people off there where if you don't show it in sort of value. So I always find that works better is if you compare the price that's going to be here to the value of one of their clients over there. So for example, if you're talking to a lawyer and you've established that each new client for him is worth $2,000 for him, then basically it's a lot easier to go about this and talk to them in terms of how much is this a client? Well, basically to get you started would be a quarter of a new client for you. Or, yo, Mr. Lawyer, when you get a new client, how much is that actually worth to you? Well, he says a couple $1,000s. Well, our initial setup price is $497, which is really just a quarter of a new client and only $197 a month to maintain that listing and that ranking. So he can see value when you compare it towards the value of a client there. So that's just a tip there. Another thing you want to talk about is always sell the benefits. Okay, and what I mean by this is basically don't talk about how they're gonna be optimizing the search engines and how they're gonna be ranking and so on. Talk about in terms of, imagine you have a first page ranking and how much more business that would be when thousands of people are looking for, let's say for example you ran a search and you determined that 360 people are looking for that specific business in that industry every month. Well, it's easy to turn around, Mr. Business Owner. If 360 people, if you're on the first page and 360 people are looking for your services each month, how many new customers do you think you could get from that? Always turn it into sort of a question there and get him thinking of how many clients that would new clients that could be for him. Remember, more visitors usually means more customers, so you kind of want to put that into ingrain that into his into the prospect's mind. Another thing we want to talk about is sense of urgency, and what I mean over here is this is a tactic that you can use, and it's definitely one that we like to follow, is that we only want to deal with one business per industry. So if you're talking with a few different dentists in the area, well, technically you can let them know and go, well, as a sort of a sense of urgency going, we are talking to other dentists in the industry, and unfortunately it's going to be a first come first serve basis, just for the fact that it doesn't make sense to actually try to compete other dentists in the exact same area or city against each other to try to rank in the same position over there. So you might want to use that as a tactic as well to help close the deal from there. The other thing, number 4, start your price higher and bring it down. This is just a negotiating tactic that almost everyone does. If you start your prices out at, normally we charge or offer some sort of discount. Normally we charge $7.97 for a service like this in your area, but today if you sign up and we can move forward, then it's going to only be $4.97 for your setup fee, and then $197 a month there. So I hope you get the idea there. And the other thing, as far as helping boost sales and help there, is that there's no contracts, there's no long-term contracts to sign that you might that customers may have fallen into in the past with some of the larger companies that have sort of moved on to sort of offering similar services to this, where they lock them in for 12-month, 24-month, even 36-month contracts. And unfortunately, a lot of these businesses have been burned by that in the past. So talk to them in a way that go, as a benefit, we don't lock you in for any long-term contract. You can cancel the month-to-month at any given time. Just let them know that by not continuing on with the monthly ranking and maintenance package, that they do have the risk of actually falling off that first page ranking that was originally set up. So you just want to let them know that they do run that risk, but obviously they can cancel at any given time for there. Now, one last thing I did mention at the bottom over here, and this is very, very important, and anyone caught using this tactic that I do find out about, I will be terminating their contracts with me for forever. And what I want to talk is you cannot promise two things. You cannot promise. You can never promise a first place listing, okay, this top number A spot in the listings there. And because what we're offering the services here, we will guarantee you a first page listing, okay? One of the first 7 spots will get you into that spot. You can never guarantee the first place. And the reason we can't do that, obviously our goal is to try to achieve that spot for our clients, but unfortunately we don't own Google, and they are always changing their algorithm and so on. So it's just something that we cannot guarantee that we can ever get them in the first spot, but we do our best to get them there. So it's a first page listing that is the guarantee, and you can never guarantee more clients, okay? Because we don't know. Obviously, if you're in the first page, you got 1,000 people looking for your services, you're gonna get more visitors to your website and probably some more calls, but we can't guarantee more income. We don't know what the client's doing on the other end when they're answering the phone, what kind of sales system they have up to actually generate new clients over there, and that's not really our responsibility. Our responsibility is to get them ranked, get more people calling them. What they do with those calls and leads, well, that's entirely up to them, and we have no control over that. So never talk in a way that we guarantee you get more clients, but you want to talk in a way that, Mr. Client, if 1,000 people are looking for a dentist in your area, and you're ranked on the first page, how many more clients do you think you could get from this? Something like that. You can see the difference in the wording there. So these are some of the tips. By no means is this an exhaustive list of tips, but something to help you out as far as closing. You're going to find what works for you and works for your personality when you go out there and actually start doing it for yourself.